stages in project management. And you are saying it is a structured discipline. It is a discipline where you plan, you organize yourself, you know how communication will be made. If you have the team, there is the central person who is going maybe to convey the message or will act as a link between the team who are in the field and those who are in the office. So we need to understand the role of each and every person in this particular project. Then, because we are dealing with the resources and we have so many resources, so in project management, we normally categorize resources into three. Number one, we normally talk about work resource. Work resource. Number two, we normally talk about cost. Number three, we normally talk about material. So that is how we normally subdivide the resources in project management. Let me explain here. You all know that you need money. You need money to purchase materials. You need money, or you pay consultancy fee. You pay money maybe to buy softwares that are involved in project. You may need the tools. You need mobile phones. Maybe you have you have like 10 enumerators. They may need, each and every person may need a mobile phone. So a mobile phone will be categorized under materials that you need. But the cost of acquiring that mobile phone in project management is what we refer to as cost resource. And it is the same cost that is going to help you, or it is the same cost that you are going to control. Not only even cost, even the material, even work resource. Like for example, people or laborers, they normally fall under work. The HR. We have equipment. They normally fall under the category we call under this
Thomas,
category.
teacher,
Yes.
let Thomas make moves. Yeah, shouting. I think
Yes.
there is a noise.
Yeah, sure. There is a lot of noise from his background. Thomas. Yeah, thank you so much, Thomas. Yeah, good. And so I was explaining some of the resources that, or the categories of the resources when you're going out to the field. So I've said we have category number one, that is work. In work, we have what you call laborers or employees, or rather what you call human resource. We have what you call equipment. You need equipment when you're going out to the field. Maybe you need cameras, video cameras, you need tripods, maybe you are taking video shoot, you are taking videos, maybe about how the project is ongoing and so forth. So you may need those equipment, you may need people that will help you now to control the project. Then there is what you call cost. I was giving you an example of cost resource. For example, you need meals. So you purchase meals for your team. You need what you call consultancy fee. Probably the activity that you are doing may need a technical personnel. So you may need to subcontract what we call now a professional person in that particular field, depending on the technicalities of the project. So any other amount of money that you spend here, even the transport cost is part of the cost. Remember, there is the cost of logistics from the office, that is the project office, to where the project is taking place, or what you call the location of the project. So you need to plan yourself accordingly. You need to assemble everything before you step out. And you can only assemble everything if you are good, or if you know how to do planning. Planning. So, what about material? What do you need? For example, let's hear from Thomas. Thomas, what are some of the material resources you use in the field? Thomas, you can now unmute your mic. Maybe tell us some of the materials that you normally use.
Yeah, some of the examples of material being used during project implementation,
Mm-hmm.
we have writing materials.
Mm-hmm. Writing
These are like
materials.
books. These are like book frames.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, we have also um, some of the
Promotional items.
yes.
Yeah, we may talk about promotional items such as flyers. If maybe you are creating what you call awareness, you need the rights of umbrellas. You need the rights of diaries, T-shirts, because you are creating an awareness. It's an awareness campaign. You need flyers, banners, canvas. You need all of them. So if you are doing, for example, constructing a clinic, what are some of the materials that you need in that particular area? You need the architectural design. Those are.
Construction material like
Mhm.
timbers, which is a kind of a construction material. I
Mhm.
mean, projects. You will need timbers. You will need iron sheet.
Very
You will
true.
need local woods if it
Mhm.
is a local construction.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. So you need to prepare yourself now for your project now to achieve the goals, because at the end of the day, the aim of the project is to achieve the goals. You need to control the resources. You need to control the resources. I'll pick resource number one, then I would like to hear from you how you can control that resource. Because if you don't control resources in the project, these are some of the areas where monitoring and evaluation or project auditors normally raise queries. Uh, let's talk about human resource. How do you control human resource in a project? How do you control human resource in project?
Okay. To control human resource in projects,
Mhm.
um, you know, resources. I mean, the higher persons who is controlling the resources is we have HR and
Mhm.
also the project manager.
Mhm.
These are the people who control the resources. On the project manager side,
Mhm.
project manager is the one holding is the budget holder.
Mhm.
Uh, each and every budget it has a budget line. Like if you are dealing with the construction, if the budget line for the construction you
Mhm.
have exhausted, so you cannot go and exhaust again the
Mhm.
budget line for human resource.
True.
Uh, this one is like when you use another budget line
Mhm.
for another activities during auditings,
Mhm.
it will be a problem. So it is a part of the controlling the resources during auditings.
Mhm.
For HR,
Mhm.
HR is the ones controlling all documents and
Mhm.
also the tools for most of the activities. So
Mhm.
these are part of controlling the resources when we
Very
are
true.
implementing projects.
Ah, good. It's a good insight. Abdi, what is your comment on how to control project resources to achieve the goals?
Uh, okay, teacher, it is a good question. Uh, as we know, project, when we are talking about project contains different persons, whether it is project manager, coordinator, then human resource departments, many departments. It has a different sections, but the most important one is the what's called HRM. HRM is the department who's responsible for the what's called hiring staff and controlling the employee, they whether it is attendance, whether it is the material, whether it is the payment process, everything. Also, is the one who is responsible for the what's called material control. So, as we have seen in the field, when some of our employees go into the field, they may take what's called materials into the field. So they may have a site supervisor or field supervisor. That supervisor will monitor and control the staff and their safety and what they are doing. Also, material that uh, working with there. So that we can. That's yeah. What can I say?
That's good.
Yeah. To add on what Mohammed said,
Uh-huh.
you also control resources. When you are implementing projects, what you need to make sure that you have to make sure there is a proper documentation, whether it is attendance sheet or whether it is payment of laborers or if it is casual workers. So you need to have a proper documentation in the project implementation. These are the resources. These are the items that will show the progress of the project implementation.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Great. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I normally write what you are saying because there are so many things that we are discussing here. And when you talk about now the human resource management, especially on the side of laborers or rather what we call the HR, there is a lot of functions that they normally play. That is payroll management. That is what you have been talking about, paying the employees, maintaining what we call the HR records, appraising the employees, evaluating the employees. That is also training and developing the employees. Because we normally say that in a project and also in monitoring and evaluation, because you will find yourself in such scenarios. You have employed a human resource, or maybe you have employed a personnel, and you find that the personnel do not, or they do not have what you call the required skills to perform the task. Remember the process of hiring this team that you're going to work with, because project managers, M&E officers normally work alongside other people. You don't lay off, you don't terminate their contracts. What you normally do is to train them. You can do training and development for the onboarding, because you need these people, they need you. So proper documentation, proper payroll control, because we have so many ghost workers. Mohammed, in the process of what you'll be doing throughout, now that you have joined the government, you'll find that most of the time there are so many ghost workers in many organizations. And that is how many organizations normally lose money and also resources. So one way of controlling such kind of resources is to ensure that the payroll is working, the payroll system is functional. Sometimes we normally say even in project management, it's also good to do what you call head counting. If the payroll is saying that we have 100 employees, make sure that you are doing what you call head counting, so that you can have the good number, you can have the exact number, so that you can control such kind of resources. You have also mentioned about the QC, or the quality control, quality assurance. It's also a very, very important person, or a very, very important docket even in M&E, because it will help you to control wastage. It will help you to make sure that you get the right quality, the right quantity, and everything is in place. But we normally say that quality control and quality assurance is not a one-man show. If you don't maybe train, or maybe you don't set everything straight to the people that you're going to work with, you may never get the quality project that you want. Let me say this. In the course of, maybe, let's say you are doing data collection for M&E, you need what we call quality data. At the end of the day, we are going to see what is quality data and how we ensure that we have quality data. So it is part of what you are going to do to control resources. Why? Because if you don't get what we call quality data, quality information, and everything that is of high quality, the cost of redoing the work is much, much expensive than the previous cost of the normal implementing the project. So you must be very, very keen on how you control resources. What about material? When you're controlling material, these are the physical materials or physical items that you'll be dealing with in the project. Then how do you control physical material? Let's assume you are doing a hospital around, or a clinic around where you are. How are you going to control physical materials?
Uh, According to my experience, teacher, if I try, controlling material is one of the important things in any project or any work. Materials may be included what's called the devices that they are using, may be included what's called documents, may be included chair and tables, may be included transportation cars. So all these things can be controlling by what's called supervising time. So I will say that, for example, when you are going to the what's called the field, you need to count everything, every material. You have to count it. Then you will be nominate one responsible person that will be accountable. Yeah. Then when they finish the work again, that person will be responsible for ensuring whether they have collected all the materials and are safe or not. That person will be yeah, responsible for everything. I think that's the easiest way to control the material. But if we say every yeah, but if we say one has collected, there may be a loss of something mistaken. Yeah.
Okay, right. Thomas, what is your opinion on how to control physical materials in M&E and also in project?
Yeah, yeah. To me, I would say controlling physical material in constructions. It involves many things. First, when you are trying to purchase this construction material, you need to have a quotation. At this quotation, you present it to logistic, and then the logistic will go through the purchase process. Then when you secure the items at your hands, then you make sure that you have an invoice or fix for all this, for you to make sure that you will have proper records on how many you bought or you purchase. That's one. Then you also ensure that when you are transporting, you must to make sure the transportation must be properly done, arranged. Then when you reach to a destination of construction, you must make sure that uh, the construction material is properly secure. You have to look for a person who can look after them, because if you just put them like that, someone may come at night or daytime can even steal them. So that's it. Even during uploading, you must to make sure that you have the proper records on damages and the other construction material that are okay. And then from there, you will have proper records, and then you present it to a project manager. So this is how you can control the construction material at the site of the construction.
Okay. That's wonderful. You people, you have a lot of information. There is a lot. Yeah, that is correct. Actually, I didn't expect you to go that far, but you have really exhausted that area of how we control resources, because like now Thomas has taken us through how we control materials, especially in what you call infrastructure. I can call them infrastructural projects, because if you are building road, you are building a house, you need all those kind of techniques to control materials. And Abdi has taken us through the humanitarian aspect of how we control materials. For example, you have the vehicles. You have what you call the devices. Let's say you are collecting data using mobiles. You need to have a clear record of the number of phones that have left the office. You need to assign somebody who can now be able to identify, or maybe who can be able to keep records on the items that maybe has been released to the field. If you are talking about logistics, you need to have what you call even the work permit. The drivers can be able now to sign somewhere. By the time they are exiting the gate, there is all manner of recordings. There is supervision. You are signing somebody in the field to make sure that everything is working, everything has been returned to the project management office, and that is what normally happens also in the monitoring and evaluation field. So you must plan yourself properly, you must organize yourself properly, and you must control resources. Actually, if you don't control resources, you may end up not achieving the intended objective. Because if the project was planned for maybe $20,000 and you end up stealing all the money, then you may find that you did not achieve the goals. And that is why we are saying that now project management is where we say that it involves what you call the knowledge, because you need to understand what you are going to do. If you are an expert in data collection, do you know? Do you have knowledge? Do you have enough technical skills? Do you have know-how on the kind of activity that you're going to do? What about techniques? Do you understand various techniques of how to implement the project until you successfully uh, uh, achieve the goals? So those are the things that we normally or we are supposed to think around. Now, when we talk about projects, I've given just a few examples of different projects. I know you have so many projects, even in training, creating an awareness, and even constructing a clinic. There are so many examples of projects. You know, the problem with people is that they do not know, or majority of the people normally think that the projects are only construction or infrastructure. People don't know that that is just one category of projects that we normally implement. And we have three examples here. I know you have many examples, but just give three examples so that you can also be able to see that there are other areas that we can venture in project management. I like the project developing a website. I like it very much because uh, it normally gives you a structure of how the project will look like. Like we are going to discuss the phases and we are going to see in the phases what normally happen. Let me not preempt when we are developing the website, for example, the stages that we normally take, or maybe how we monitor or the position of M&E in, like, when you are designing such kind of a project. Constructing a school in a rural area. Probably you have been involved in maybe constructing a school in your area, maybe a clinic, a dispensary, or something like that. Maybe you have been engaged in what we call the national census. Like here in Kenya, we normally have a census after 10 years. I don't know about your country. When do you normally do census?
I don't know in Somalia, but in Ethiopia also we have every 10 years we have census.
Okay, after how many years?
10 years, 10 years. I don't know
After 10
Somalia
years.
since I'm new in here,
Mhm.
original from Ethiopia, so I know that Ethiopia conducted census for every 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thomas, do you conduct census in South Sudan?
Yeah, for South Sudan, it's supposed to be 10 years, but due to this crisis now and then,
Mhm.
uh, it is very difficult even to understand by when the census should be done.
Very
Like I
correct.
witnessed in 2008, it was the time when it was conducted. So up to now,
Mhm.
it has not yet been conducted. So
Okay.
it is something confusing.
Okay, all right. So it's like many countries normally conduct census after 10 years. That is a whole project that is very expensive or very costly to the country. It has, if you look at the scope of the census, it requires that we plan and plan adequately before we venture into what we call the national census. And those are just a few examples of project. Now, when we talk about project management, when you hear about project management, what normally comes into your mind, apart from being a discipline or being a course, what comes into your mind? Number one, you find that you are applying what you call knowledge. There are some tools that you're using, there are skills that you need, and there are also techniques that you need to apply. So you cannot just wake up one morning and start implementing the project. No, you need to understand that there is what you call knowledge. What do I mean by knowledge? Like Abdi is in the field of ICT, if I may say, that is computer science and so. Thomas, you're in the field of what is your area of specialization? You focus so much on what?
On social work.
Research.
Yeah. No,
Or
social work.
social work. Yeah. So Thomas is a we can call him like a social worker. That is community development and social work. So you find that so many projects that are, we normally call them community projects. You need to understand them. You need to have knowledge on what you call community projects. You need to understand how to apply MIL, that is monitoring, evaluation, accountability, learning. How do you account to the community? How do you account to beneficiaries? How do you incorporate feedback from the community? How do you ensure that there is transparency in the project? So you have that kind of knowledge. Then each discipline has what we call tools. Like in project management, we have so many tools. What do I mean by this? In project management, we have tools like collaboration or collaborative tools. We have the likes of Asana. We have the likes of Asana. We have what we call Monday.com. We have Monday.com. We have a tool we call Gantt chart. We have schedules.
What is it? S.
Schedules. Asana. ASANA.
Monday.
Monday.com. We have Gantt chart.
Gantt. Is it Gantt or Gantt?
Gantt chart. Double T.
Gantt chart. Okay.
Okay. Gantt chart.
S.
We have schedules.
S.
SC.
C. H. U.
E.
D. E. S. Yeah.
Schedules. Supposed to have,
Schedules.
yeah, schedules. We have MS Project. I don't know whether you have ever come across this program. We have MS Project. We have another one we call MindView. We have another one we call Primavera. We have Primavera like that. Apart from that, we have the tool, we have now the techniques. We have a technique we normally call PAT. PAT is just an abbreviation for project evaluation and review technique. Project evaluation and review technique. We have another one we call CPM.
Sorry, this part is what?
Part is project evaluation. You evaluate the project, then there is review, then there is technique. Project evaluation and review technique. We have CPM, the critical path method.
Pretty what?
Critical path method. We have another one we call EVM. That is the earned value management.
You said N.
E- EVM, earned value management, from the word earning, earned value management. We have other techniques such as crushing. 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 So now project management involves all these and others. I've just given a few of them. And for example, I want to show you what I mean by this. I want to show you one program in project management that can help you even to plan.
Let me break 3 to 4 seconds.
All right, all right, go ahead.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, like this one is a schedule. Is a schedule for community awareness training project, and you can be able to see that it is a whole schedule with a budget. Like now we can be able to see that this is the budget, and just an example is a simulation of a whole budget, but and so we can be able to see the cost. However, it has not been completed. So this is one of the tools that we normally use, or one of the programs that we normally use in project management to plan for various projects. Right from what we learned yesterday, that is initiation phase. For example, here you can be able to see that we have the initiation phase, we have the planning phase. We normally break down our project into those phases. Here we have what we call monitoring and evaluation, and we have what we call the closure phase. Uh, then this project has two in one. I don't know whether my screen is still visible from your end. Is my screen still visible from your end?
It's still visible, yes, I can see it.
Okay, so this is just a tool, or this is just one of the programs. So when we say that this was actually the definition that project management now involves applying the knowledge, the tools, the skills, and also the techniques. These are some of the techniques that I'm talking about. So I've given you a few of them, and I've only shown you just one program that we normally use in project management. So when you hear that students are learning, for example, project management, those are some of the tools that they normally go through. We have another one, this one. I think I have it. We have this one. So this one, we help you now to break down your project. It has what we call even the year wheel. The year wheel is just meant to help you to break your project into what we call quarters. For example, those who normally report, do you report basically on what we call quarter one? Do you report on what we call quarter two? Quarter one, quarter two, quarter three? How do you normally report? Again, if for example you wanted to show whether some activities have been completed in project management, here we normally apply something we call the Kanban. So once the activity has been completed, it can be taken to this point to show that it has been completed, it is in progress. You play around with it, And apart from that, it will show you what you call the outline of a project. Like now, this one is blank, doesn't have any data. And maybe there is now the what you call the mind map. The mind map is now meant to help you now to break down project completely. We have the mind map. This one is meant to help you to complete or to control the project or to break down the project completely. And at least now you are able to say, I'm moving from this point and so forth. So these are basically some of the tools that we normally use in project management. Apart from that, we have the WBS, that is the work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure is another technique that will help you now to break down your project into smaller and manageable tasks. One of these findings in the process of learning M&E, I will take you through what we call the work breakdown structure. We'll come up with a project on our own, and I'll show you how we break it down in a way that we can now be able to manage it. Because without breaking down this project, you may not even be able to monitor the project or monitor and evaluate the project. So you need what you call packages or pieces for you to be able now to manage the project. So that is basically what you call project management. It involves a lot, and project management has 10 areas that we normally teach project managers. Area number one, if that is communication in project, it has comms. These are the areas that we normally train in project. We have what we call integration. So by the time you are completing the full course for project management, you have been taken these areas because these are some of the areas that we normally monitor. Time, you even monitor time. There is what we call the cost. As an M&E officer, you must understand how the cost is in this project. At the same time, there is what you call procurement. You need to understand whether the process was followed. That is procurement. There is what you call the quality management. Quality management, or rather what you call quality control and quality management. There is what you call stakeholder. You need to understand various stakeholders in project and whether there is what you call participation. Apart from that, there are other areas. There are 10 areas that we normally look at, but there are just a few of them. But majorly project focus on these areas. So yesterday I said that whatever project that you are monitoring, there is what we call the phases. We are going to see what is your role as Mohammed or Thomas, an M&E officer during initiation. What is your role as an M&E officer during planning? What is your role as an M&E officer during execution of the project? And now the M&E itself. Then when we are closing the project or closure of the project. So it is very, very important to understand these phases so that you know at each and every stage the role that you normally take in this. So why do you need project management, or why am I teaching you or training you the techniques or maybe foundation for project management? Number one, as an M&E officer, because you also be checking whether the project is successful or not, you need to understand some of these techniques in project management. You need to ensure that planning was done properly. Because yesterday, I was able to come up with these three items. Item number one was time. Item number two was scope. Item number three was what you call cost. So if you mismanage the three of them, definitely you may not be able to complete that project. So these are very, very key to our project, and we normally use a triangle here. When we are explaining this, we normally call them the triple constraints. The triple, there are three. They are the triple constraints that you must be very, very careful with in project management. Because anyway, this is what you normally monitor. There is what you call time. Apart from time, we have what you call cost. And apart from cost, we have what we call the scope. And yesterday, I was able to break down what we mean by scope. I was able to break down time. I was able to break down what we call cost. But later on, we may, if we get much time, I'll be able to take you through various cost estimation methods in project and how we know which amount, the total amount of money that the project will consume, and all those techniques. Remember, we have said that project management involves knowledge, tools, skills, and techniques. I'm going to teach you some of the techniques or to train you on some of the tools, techniques that we normally go around with project management when we are conducting monitoring. I have a practical case here of why project is important. Number one, I am talking about to ensure the project is success or project is successful. If you go to the internet and find the Nairobi Expressway, I would like you to maybe take your time to identify or maybe to research on what you call the Nairobi Expressway project. It is a project that was done here in Kenya during we had a president called Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I don't know whether you know him. And he came up with a mega project or an infrastructural project. And one of the reasons why that project succeeded, it's because it had what you call clear milestones and also stakeholders coordination, among other things. So by talking about milestones, practically I can show you milestones in projects because milestones normally mark the end of a specific event. What do I mean by that? Look at, for example, monitoring. Once you complete monitoring, that is a milestone. If I can be able, let me check whether I can be able to identify milestones. Here, I can show you. Don't know whether they are visible. I don't know whether from your end, you can see where my cursor is. Can you see where my cursor is?
Yes, I can see.
Can you see something, an icon like a diamond? This one.
Yeah, yeah.
That icon like a diamond is telling us that the project has come to an end. We have completed that project. It is marking the end. It is a milestone. And so when we talk about milestone, they mark the end of a project. So when you are monitoring your project, probably you are going to monitor project based on what you call phases. Let's say phase number 1 or phase number 2 or maybe phase number 3, which is implementation. What are you going to monitor during implementation? If the project is at planning phase, what is your role as an M&E officer? So you look at that. Then number 2 is that project management will help you to manage budget effectively. You know, when, for example, I'm using this tool, I am able to monitor the cost. Because number 1, I know, let me, for example, show you. Number 1, I know the cost of these materials. I had already budgeted the cost of these materials. For example, the project manager. Let's say the cost of project manager in the site maybe for just one day, those are 8 hours in a day, I'm paying this person 5,000 Kenya shillings. And the system is able to calculate the number of days that this project manager will be in the site, and it is able to tell me or prorate and give me the total cost of that particular of that particular personnel in the field. So that is the role of, that is the beauty of having monetary, project management, because it will help you to avoid what you call the cost overrun, going beyond the budget, stretching beyond your limits. I have an example here because I like using practical examples when I'm teaching so that at least you can be able to see it, or you can be able to understand properly what I mean. A school construction project in Kisumu is in Kenya, is a city in Kenya, was completed 10% under budget by implementing strong cost controls. Was completed 10% under budget. If the budget was $20,000, using project management techniques or using project management, or if you apply project management techniques, it simply mean that this project was completed 10% under the budget. That is 20,000. So that is 20,000 minus this. So it was completed 10% under budget by implementing what? Strong cost controls. And we have talked about how we control materials. Then there is the other part that project management will help you to do, that is resource utilization. So from this program here for project management, I am able to track the activities. I am able to track the personnel. In my resource sheet, I have project manager, and I am able to track them. I have community liaison, I have enumerators, I have suppliers, I have procurement officer, I have admin assistant, I have trainers, I have what you call facilitators, M&E officer, project team. I am able to control them. Why? Because there is what? There is the use of project management. For example, NGOs managing relief programs. I know we have been implementing these relief programs more efficiently with the project schedules and the logistic plans. This is a schedule. Let me take you to the schedule. This is a project schedule that on Friday 30th up to Friday 31st, I'll be doing what we call project initiation and kickoff meeting. So on this particular day, I know that I'll be on a particular location and we are going to use this kind of resources. That is resource utilization. Risk management. Any project has risk. There is no any project that doesn't have risk. For example, if you're implementing a project on malaria prevention campaign in Uganda or whatever, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and so forth, the timelines and delivery due to expected seasonal flooding. So you have to adjust your timelines and delivery. Why? Because of the flooding. And remember, the flooding will bring what you call stagnant water. And stagnant water will attract mosquitoes. Those are some of the risks. So when you are campaigning for malaria prevention, let's say in whichever country that you are in, the timelines and delivery due to expected seasonal, you must adjust them. Like for example, the mosquito nets. At what point do you distribute those mosquito nets? At what point do you distribute those tabs? So you need to have a good timing in case there is what you call rainy season. Maybe that is the point when you need to supply more what you call more mosquito nets, more tabs, among others. Project collaboration and communication, or it promotes collaboration and communication. I've given you examples of some of the collaborating tools such as Asana and Madi.com. So if I'm in phase number 1, the other team on the other end will be able to know what I'm doing. Why? Because there is what you call the dashboard. You can be able to see what your member is doing. We have such kind of dashboard or softwares that we help to maybe to update the progress. So at least maybe if Mohammed is here, then Thomas will update his work, then there is no conflict because each and every person is on board. Accountability. Everyone knows who is responsible for what, reducing blame game and confusion. For example, in a donor-funded project or in donor-funded project, each task is assigned and monitored through what you call reports and audits. Is this not the case? In donor-funded project, we normally have reports, true or false? What about audit? Do we conduct audits in donor-funded project?
Yes.
Is there
Mhm. Yes, there is audit. Because we want to improve what we call accountability. And some of these documents are the ones that you are going to use as an M&E officer report. You also be writing reports. There are others. At your own free time, you're going to look at them. I want us to look at a sample case study project here. We have a community health clinic project in Somalia. What is the background of this project? We are now bringing in the aspect of project management. The background of this community health clinic project in Somalia is that it is an international non-governmental organizational funded. It was funded by an NGO, or maybe an organization was funded to construct what you call a rural health clinic. We have a place called Baidoa. I know so many places in Somalia. Mohammed, do you have a
Yes.
place called Baidoa?
Yeah. Yeah. Currently, I am resident in Bedoa.
Okay, right. So we are now implementing a community health clinic in that place called Baidoa. And remember, it is funded by an international organization. What are some of the challenges that you are likely to face? Because these are some of the things that you normally control or you normally plan for when you are when you're using what you call project management techniques. What are some of the challenges? For example, I've given just a few of them. Maybe you might need to add more when you get the materials. We may have what you call hash, climatic and remote location. I don't know very well about the terrain of that place. In terms of climate, maybe you can maybe give insight on that, Mohammed.
Pardon, please, teacher. You said?
You give us insight on the climatic condition of that place called Baidoa.
Yeah, teacher, the climatic situation in Bedoa is similar to the what is called Uganda, like Kampala.
Mm-hmm.
So in a rainy season, we see what's called a high flash floods and the flooding. Also, the other season is we see what's called droughts and the hot temperature. So that is the climate related issues. Construction material is also it's near to Mogadishu, but it is easy to bring what's called every material since it is the Bedoa is close to Mogadishu ports, so it can get easily the materials. The deadline before the malaria. Also, this is related to the project schedule and what's called project budget. I think the last one,
Yeah,
tight
title.
deadline before malaria. Yeah.
Assume you are supposed maybe to distribute what you call the material for controlling mosquitoes, such as mosquito nets. You're supposed to set up what you call maybe somewhere we can do treat our nets and so forth. So we may have what you call tight deadline, maybe before malaria season, and we must, because we know at the end of the day, during rainy season, that is when we have a lot of major cases in malaria. So there are some of the challenges, and there are so many challenges that you may face when you're implementing this kind of a health clinic. You may also face challenges like maybe can talk about the responsiveness of the community around where that project is being implemented. So they might not be friendly to you, and maybe such can bring a lot of challenges when you're implementing such kind of project. Then how do we apply project management in such kind of a project? Number one, we are going to develop something we call, or a document we call project charter, and it is a document that normally help or authorizes the project to be implemented. Project charter. I check whether I have a sample. I can post it online or I can share with you. I don't know whether I have a charter, but I have a charter from other students in project management. I can decide to share with you also to check what a project charter is all about, because a project charter, which is applicable in this, it will give you the budget. It has the budget of this project. It will have what you call the scope of the project. It has what you call the implementing organization, and the same project charter will have what you call the constraints, or rather what you call the constraints. The project charter will have what you call the schedule, your implementation schedule. How are you going to construct this house? I mean, not house, rather this clinic here. We have the schedule, and you have a complete, when I talk about the budget for this clinic, you have a complete budget breakdown. When I talk about the schedule, it is the schedule on how you are going to implement this one that I'm showing you here. Sorry. This one that I'm showing you here. So this is a complete schedule on how to create a community awareness training project. So same case to this. When you're developing this project management charter, it will authorize whether you go ahead and implement the project, because it is also approved. It has what you call approvals. And it is approved by the senior most person or the senior most personnel. It has what you call approvals. It has what you call objectives, among others. So when you are implementing such clinic, you need what we call project management knowledge, project management technique. And also remember, there is what you call the issue of timeline. You cannot build a community health center forever. There is a budget, there is a deadline, there is a time frame, there is a start and there is an end. So you need to apply project management skills and technique here. Number two, it is a community. It is a community. What does it mean? You have to identify the stakeholders. You have to map them. In fact, we normally use the word map. Mapping is one way of identifying and bringing all the stakeholders on board. It is a community, so you must engage with everybody in that particular area. So you have to come up with so many meetings. You have to map the stakeholders, then you are going to put the stakeholders into something we call a matrix. And this matrix is based on what you call a power, the power that each stakeholder has, and the interest that they have in your project. So we normally categorize them. We are going to see how we normally categorize these stakeholders. So there are those stakeholders who will fall under this, there are others who will fall under this, there are others who will fall under this, and there are others who will fall under this. For example, if you have the donor who is funding this project, where are we going to place the donor in our matrix? Apart from that, how are we going to communicate with the donor in our matrix? So it is the same way we are going to bring the schedule. We are developing the schedule for this project using project management skills. Even material delivery, we are going to use project management technique. We may decide to bring mobile tracking apps to monitor how labor is, to monitor labor and also the progress of the project. So basically, what I'm trying to show you is that when you're building this clinic, which is funded by an organization, and the location is in Somalia by Doha, what do you need? Because if your role is M&E in this project, if you are given a role of M&E, you will need to collect this schedule. You need this project charter so that you can check what was the budget, what was the scope of the project, are they moving, are they on track, how are they doing, are they progressing well, what was the budget, are we within the budget, are we outside of the scope? So that is where now project management comes in. Then what will be the outcome of that? The outcome, which is part of what you are going to monitor, or rather what you normally evaluate, because we normally evaluate the outcome, is whether the clinic was completed on time or within the budget, whether community health outcome improved due to early malaria detection, and some of the lessons that we learned and how they were documented. So that is basically how we are going to apply project management in this kind of project, and what we are going to monitor, or the document that we need for us to monitor this project as M&E. So we need the schedules, we need the budget, and other items. Are we together?
Yes, teacher.
Is there any question as far as that is
Yes.
concerned? Yes, please.
Uh, Teacher, in your presentation, you have mentioned what's called a project charter.
Yes.
So, and you defined what's called project charter is an authorized document. It might include budget, scope, schedule,
Objective.
so on, objectives, yeah, and outcomes. So, who is responsible for developing project charter?
Project Charter is not a one-man show. It is developed by it is developed by different stakeholders. In Project Charter, we have the donor, or the person who is
Okay.
sponsoring the project must be there, because they are the one who are going to authorize the project to proceed to the implementation phase. He will need a project manager who is going to confirm that whatever that has been incorporated in the project charter is viable, because you may tell me use $20,000, but if I look at the scope of the project, you may find that I may not be able to implement that project with what? With the $20,000. It has so many stakeholders. You may find even the team in monitoring and evaluation are part of those who are developing the project charter. Why? Because you also need to understand how you are going to use the document, what is in that document. And that is where we wanted to start, but I can see our time is up. I wanted to see the role of M&E in each and every phase. But don't worry, I'm going to share this shortly, such that in our next lesson, because our time is up, we'll be able to now look at the phases properly and understand the role of M&E in each and every phase.
Okay, teacher. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Thomas?
I just need to ask some two questions
Yes.
regarding the tools and the techniques
Mm-hmm.
under the tools in project
Mm-hmm.
management.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is the most viable to be used when you are? I mean, which tool is really very essential when you are implementing a project? That's one, and then the same also to techniques, because we have so many techniques here. But which one is the most important one that should be used?
Come again, the last question.
I was saying in techniques, we have very many techniques
Mm-hmm.
in project implementation. Then I was like to ask which one is the most important among these techniques that we have underlined.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. That's a very good question. Uh, for the project techniques, or rather the tools, when you ask about which is the most essential or which is the most recommendable tool or techniques to use when you are running projects, what I can say is that there is no best technique, there is no best tool to use. It normally depends on the kind of project that you're implementing. For example, if I'm constructing a house, there are some techniques that applies in constructing a house. There is a technique that applies or tool applies in maybe in a humanitarian context or in those kind of projects. So the best tool depends on it's just a matter of judgment. Which tool am I going to use? For example, when it comes to maybe developing the schedule, let's say, if I want to develop a schedule for the project, for my case, I normally go with this tool that I'm presenting. That is the MS project. When I want to come up with a good project breakdown from the scope, I normally run to this to this program here that I was showing you. So it normally depend on what you're doing. I mean the kind of project that you're implementing, or maybe based on what you call a matter of judgment, which tool do you think that applies to this? For example, when we are doing collaboration with the team, which tool will apply? If we are doing collaboration, for example, this program that I'm presenting may not be applicable. Why? Because it doesn't have a dashboard. So I might go to what you call Jira. I might go to Asana, because it will give me that option where I can be able now to collaborate with the team. So it normally depends on what you are doing in project management. If I'm, for example, I'm developing maybe the budget, which technique should I apply? If I'm applying a technique maybe based on what you call parametric, let's say I'm using parametric method to estimate the cost. Why am I using parametric and not maybe analogous method? Probably I am using parametric because I have not maybe implemented a similar project in the past. So I don't have available data. So I need to research on the data or current information or current data in the market. So it's just a matter of judgment and the stage that you are in project management, Thomas. Any other question? So if there is no any other question, then I think